Hello, my name is Will K, and I'm going to take you through my project Banzai. And this is the first time I'm doing a production walkthrough, so bear with me. But yeah, I'd love to take you through my project, how I did my drops, how I usually process my basses, my breakdowns, the sounds I use, and stuff like that. And I got a Q&A on my Twitter as well. I'll go through some questions and just answer them all in this video. I did this track 1 year ago, last May, and it took a while to release, but I'm very happy with the final product of it. And yeah, it's coming out tomorrow. It's 12:39 a.m. as you see, but yeah, I've had some great support on the track, and I'm really thankful for everyone for the feedback and support. So thank you very much. Okay, I'll start taking you through the project. First of all, I'll just play a little bit of the drum. Okay, and I'll get the system overload. Before this video, I bounced everything. Not everything. I left some things on so you could see how I processed them. But I had to bounce a lot of stuff just because the CPU on this, there were a lot of plugins. I'll take you through the intro first. I've got a kick reverb. This is taken from Nexus. This is just a sample. And I cut it from Nexus, bounced it, put it in the battery. It's just like a sampler, and I mixed it. This took a while to mix, just because the breakdown, there was a sine, and I mixed this kick and the sine very. It took a while to make sure it fits, but I ended up. It sounds good now, so I've got that. I wanted to make it a really. By the way, this was referenced off God, Steve Angelo, just because when it first came out, there was samples online and stuff like that. I wanted to go for like a cinematic track. So, and I really like it as well. It's kind of different. So, this is just a sample from Logic. And let's just build up. That was like a bitch to process. It had all these peaks in it, but it's just basically EQ and a little bit of distortion on top to push it out. So just some claps. Pan far left. A chant, just a little vocal. This is cool. That's just the Vengeance loop, but I cut it up to my own different melody to fit the mix and the bass lines. But this is the stereo one. And that's mono. And then I've got this as well wide. Kind of gives it some nice groove. This is a kick drum I sampled from Shosso's track, Marcus Shosso's Kemi. Really tight kick. This is obviously filtered, but yeah. I've got, and I can't even remember how I bust. My buses are fucked up in this. I don't know why I did it like this, but obviously this is one of my first projects that really took place, which was I put a lot of effort into. So I do things different now, but. That's sent to a bus with just some reverbs. Just some atmosphere. And the reverb's coming up on that as well. I've got a drums. And I'll take you through the drop. There's not really much, nothing special in the intro, and I'll take you through everything else because it all adds up in the intro anyway. So I've got a kick, just a clean kick cut from Shosso's track. And now I've got the melody, but it's like a chorus. I got this from Nicky Amura's Future music video. You can copy that, and I panned it far left, far right, set it to a bus, put a little plate reverb on it and a sidechain, and I just pushed out the highs, I guess, and cut a lot of the lows. That's just to give it some crunch, some bite. I've got a sub. Now this is a cool bass. I can't remember how I made it. It's in another project, but this took a while to make. But I've got my distortions. I use the amp. I use probably the guitar amp, or any of these. I usually process a dry sound with my bass lines. People ask me how I usually do my bass lines. I usually just grab just like a saw wave. I make sure it's really tight, and I push out the transient so it's attacky, and I chuck on. I don't like it being wet because then it kind of sounds too gritty. So instead of taking it away, the mids to make it less gritty, I'll just process a really dry, like a pluck sound, for instance, and I'd put on a guitar amp on it. Then it'd get like a little bit of character. Then I'd put some coloring, and these are my coloring. So I put like a big crush, a camel crusher, or like some distortion, some saturation, maybe a vowel filter. This is a vowel filter I used as well. From the WoW plugin. What I usually do is I go to rejector and I just click reset. It stops it, then you can move it around and it goes wheel. You can just change it. Use some overdrive to push it out. Play with the mix, whatever. It just depends on the sound, but what you're going for. But for this, I wanted a WoW filter, and sounds pretty tight. And I've got a lot of EQ on this as well, just to make it fit in the mix against every other element. Some low cuts, saturation, sidechain. See, like I take away the highs, but then I just push them back up. It's just something I do. This is a really sick plugin. This had too much attack. I didn't want this to be too attacky, so I brought back the transients of the attack. And this bass here, is the attack. People ask me, I use this for my Phoenix Paul remix as well. This is actually a sample, but it's pitched down like six semitones, so I had to pitch it back up, and it sounds like this. And I ended up taking it from the other project. I added just some camel crushes, some EQs to push it out. And there's a lot of actual. This is a bit of processing. I think this is just more. These are just basically the same. I pushed out the attack on this. Reverb. That just makes it, that's really cool, just to make a wide sausage fat. Got some compression. For my compression, I just use presets for my compression. You learn to, I'd say if you don't know how to use compression, like I honestly don't even know how to use compression. Like, I know what it does. I'm not too familiar with the release of the attacks, blah, blah, blah. I just basically go through presets and you learn from them, and you know how the presets sound and what you want to go for. If you want more sustain or more attack, longer release, just stuff like that. I just go through presets, and whatever sounds good, to be honest. It's all about what sounds good in the end. And this is actually the same sound. This is actually this sound, but I've duplicated them twice, panned it far left, far right, put some transients to make it even more attacky, I'm assuming, yeah. Set it to a bus, and this is a really cool thing, I low cut, there's a dramatic low cut somewhere. think it's, yeah, here. So obviously this is like way too dramatic, but that's what I wanted because otherwise it fades. So I cut it all the way up to like 2.5K. So you get the crisp of it. I put a couple delays on it. I put the transients again to make it attacky, and I made it really wide in the chorus. And that kind of, I don't know if you can hear it, it's got like a delay going from left to right. It's really attacky, it's in your face, in your ears. And it fits well with the other basses. That's just kind of to give it more width, more of a natural way, instead of using like just say sample delay, because that can phase. But, and yeah. This is cool. These are just samples from Logic, and I processed them a lot as well. But I'll show you something really cool. I pen them as well, far left, far right, center to a bus. But what really makes these is this plugin here. This plugin just kind of, I'll play it without. See how it kind of seems like it's empty. It needs more low mids. So I looked up, if I were you guys as well, I do this for every single track. You grab a frequency chart, and this track's in F sharp minor. So you go down to F sharp minor here, 185. So that's the peak of the chord of the note. Sorry. So like it's like it kind of gives it more character. It's where all the I can't explain it, but it's just where it sounds good when you follow this kind of formula. And I learned that from Mac J, his videos as well, Dennis Goyu. So I put it to 185, and see, I put the intensity up, and it kind of gives it more grit and more warmth to it. And on top of that, I duplicated that, obviously put it to the middle, and I pitched it with the sound pitcher 12 semitones. It's obviously going to sound too dramatic now. Yeah. But if I pitch this 12 up, it's basically the same. It's obviously going to sound shitter, but yeah, you pitch it 12 down, so it kind of it gives it more character, more low end, and more, just a low end character to it. So it makes it sound more fatter, which is good. And I learned that one from Tom Starr, Future Music as well. It's really helpful to do with your rises and stuff. Now these fills are really sick. I remember I was freaking out when I made them, but there's a plugin. I'll show you. First of all, I've got a snare hit just going like this. I've got a snare going like this. That's it. Then I've got another fill. But what does the job is this sound here. This one here. It's just really weird. And I'll show you what the automation I did for that. I used the isotope stutter. And I can't show you how to do it now, but it's a kind of a bitch to set up. You have to look it up on YouTube. You have to route different channels to different MIDIs or audios. I can't even remember how to do it now, to be honest. But it has all of these different stutter effects, stutter glitches and weird stuff. And you can put on your master. Eddie Thonic put on his master for Love Will Never Let You Down for a couple fills. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to do that for like a fill. But obviously I can't put on the master because he's using a different DAW. You can't do it through Logic, which sucks. But it doesn't matter. So I've got that fill, I bounced it down. Then it's gone from... See how it gets really wide? That's just because I'm using the S1. Kind of opens up the mix. And if you play him from here... See, it sounds really, really nice. And I've got like a... That's just a pad from Nexus. So it's coming up. more drums, and I'll show you the drums. It's kind of funny how I did this. These are just more of the percussion and stuff. Now this is actually sampled. I felt like I needed bigger drums. I hate processing drums. I like just having a stock standard, really nice drum sound. Obviously, that's what we all want. But so I thought I needed something, and I was listening to tracks in key, and I actually listened to Crider's Walter White. And in the intro or the outro, I'm pretty sure maybe it was the outro, I sampled in Ableton the drum hits, and I just put the melody in. And I've got another one as well. I just put a tape delay, bounced it down, and just played with the notes from it, basically. But just EQs on that, and yeah, EQs on that. Nothing really special. Now the synths. This is the saw coming in here. That's from one of the sounds from the break. Now this is really cool. This is actually a white noise. I'll just make sure this is recording. Yeah, this is a white noise. Just a normal, simple white noise. But I have done some weird automation, so I can't copy that again. You know what I mean? So like, it kind of makes the track different in its own certain way, which kind of gives it your own kind of sound. And I learned that from a Shoso video. He does crazy automation as well. I watch a lot of videos, by the way. I'm like a geek when it comes to that. I'll show you after my collection of screenshots. But you can hear it. That's just from Spire. And now this is my favorite fill of the track. And obviously it's going to overload. I'll take you through the fill as well. So sick. That's just the same thing. Stutter, bounced it down, found a good stutter I like. I use this. I don't know if you can hear it. It goes from, I put a dead mono to come really. I like to do that. Just, I don't know, just to make it kind of from smaller to bigger. The melody changes. It goes like this. And I can't wait to show you the break. Yeah, I've got some rises. That's pan far right. And now this is the brass and stuff coming in. Whoops. And now is my favorite part. This is probably one of the best breaks I've ever done. The funnest, sorry. This was so fun to make, from just making like kind of epic, kind of cinematic chords and cinematic sounds. So I'll take you through it. I've got some effects, some down. And I wanted to make everything different, so I added a horn. I added the compressor to make it the transients more, give it more release, so it doesn't stop. Kind of, it goes throughout, it plays longer. So know if you could tell I was obviously going for a size epic kind of vibe. But yeah, I'll take you through it. I'll show you something really cool. Fluke, actually. This is actually, people have been asking me what core, how did you get that core? To be honest, it's weird, but that's actually Temper Trap's Sweet Disposition. But I put it in Ableton, I reversed the whole acapella, and I chucked on a massive reverb. And I cut up different parts of the vocal that I think that would fit the breakdown. And even like the build how it goes, oh. So like I had to pitch a couple of notes as well to make it follow. But yeah, and it turned out really, really well and different, which is what I was aiming for. This kind of sounds scary, but take you through the sounds. Okay, I've got and it's weird, this part of the breakdown, this is, I don't know if you could see, these notes here, I extended them, so I doubled them. You can obviously see they're doubled. And it kind of made it drag out, so you don't know what kind of melody is coming. Like, you obviously know, but it's not just straight away. If I just copied and pasted this melody here, it'd just be boring. So like I wanted to have like a different kind of section for the MIDI. And this is just filtered. These were a pain to mix because they're all brass, most of them. And if you have all of this brass playing the same notes, same MIDI, it's obviously it's not gonna sound different. It's not gonna be layered properly. So I had to EQ a lot. Okay, my EQs are just pushing. See, I just go. Oh yeah, this is actually, I can go through this as well. This I always do this for all of my basses. These notes here, I'm guessing when I did this, they're all peaks. So like I'll play it. That noise there, you don't want that in the mix because it's just going to be ringing. There's another one here. And you can even see they pop out. So what I did, I cut them. And to do this in FabFilter, you just... No, it's not here. It's here. Bring it all the way up. And I just say, go looking. And you find the peaks, and this really makes a difference. This is like fine tuning. See, they were really sticking out in the mix, so I took them out, and it makes a difference altogether. If you see if you can hear it. See, you can hear the ringings, but when I turn it on, you can't. So, just little things that count. This is more of the high. I think this is, yeah, I put a sample delay on this. This is more of the kind of crush noise, like it kind of makes it harsh. Another brass. This is playing to the right. That's just an extra string, basically, but it's actually it was a brass string, and yeah, I thought it sounded well. This is a brass in Contact. My friend has Contact, and when I I know what kind of vibe I want, and I'd be like, hey man, can you please bounce down a brass from me in contact? So he bounced it down. I did that for my strings for Here Comes the Sun as well, because I don't have it, but yeah. That's actually the preset phase pad in Nexus. See, I had to bounce these down because I had a lot of different processing on these. But I kept this one for you guys. And this makes a big difference in the track. The low mid brass character. And I processed on a fair bit, but I wanted to have that big crush feel. Let me take these all off. Best preset is this one. I use this for every single time, but it depends what you're going for. And there's the big crusher. See, there's a noise there. I just ducked it out. Now, this was actually interesting how I mixed this, because people, obviously it doesn't happen for every track, but usually your sub bass is supposed to be mono, dead in the middle, and that's mostly for drops. But for this, I put this far left, far right, make it really wide, so the kick, I used mid-side EQing on the kick. So like, how can I explain it? So I made sure, I can actually pull it up because this is really helpful. What I will do is, because the kick's got a lot of bass in it, obviously, it's an impact kick, and the sub obviously is playing full notes, so it's going to clash if they're both at dead center in the middle. So what I did for the kick was, I made sure I put it on mid-side, and I would make sure, actually, would it be this one? No, it'd actually be, yeah, it'd be this one. Hold on. I think it's Control. Yeah. So what I would do, I made from just say 150 or 190, whatever, with the low end dead center. So the low end straight in the middle, while the sub sign that would be clashing is pan far left, far right. And to make sure I made it ultra clean, was I would just say I finished making the bass stereo. What I will do is I bring up a mid-side EQ. So this is dead center in the middle. So what I would do, I'd low cut the middle. So now there's no bass at all in the middle, which is mono, and the rest is the stereo. So like I boost here, which is the stereo, which kind of makes it separates from the stereo image, the sides, to the dead center in the middle. So I've kept the bass in the stereo while I've taken out the bass in mono. So that's how I mixed this kick drum and this bass together. And they don't clash. I've also got a hit. And this white noise as well. I'll play it to you without. Playing the whole time. That just gives it wide crisp on top of everything else. Also, I'll show you. This is a cool melody. the bass changes to the chords. Yeah, and also, if you use sends, what I usually do, I don't use sends. I need to start using sends because my CPU gets fucked up because I have reverbs on different. I'll group it to a bus, but then I don't like having it on a bus because I like different reverbs with different sounds. So that's why I need to start using sends. But if you guys already use sends, always, I learned this from Headhunter's video. I remember if you have a send and you have a reverb on it, you can also add like an overdrive to push out the reverb, while at the end you always must have a low cut because you don't want the reverb can carry low frequencies you probably can't even hear. You can hear it, but you'd want to make sure it's clean and you don't want to make sure anything's messing up, mudding up the mix. That's what I pitched up. Okay, also I have this sound. I added this like last minute, just before I finished it. I felt like it needed something. And this sound is just like, let me see if I can show you. SG. See if you can hear that. It's just like weird. It's like a vocal chant, and I pitched it. It's got some reverbs, and I love this part. Got some reverb on that, some EQ. Besides all the effects, I can show the effects later, but I'm pretty sure that's basically it. Now, the intro chord coming back. Sorry. Now a new sound comes in, which is... That was the build-up. Hopefully it doesn't just... Okay, I'll show you how I do my build-ups as well. People have asked me how basically I try to do them. I don't know how this is set up in this project, but let's just see. Obviously, everything's filtered out, like... reverb's coming up. I like this reverb, but I don't use this reverb now for my tracks, for build-ups. So obviously you have a high pass filter. What I would recommend, what I would recommend, what I do now is the sounds you want to be washed away, mostly like instruments, mostly like obviously effects are going to be doing the noise, so you don't want to put like, just say like reverb, a lot of reverb on that. What I usually do is just say you're having like strings or anything, send them all to a bus, and then add on, this is what I usually add on every single bus, the Valhalla, the long verb, start it from here and just build up, 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 up. And then you can also have a delay on top of that. The mix, the dry wet is going up and up and up while it's getting stereo, stereo, stereo. While on top of that, you'd have a high pass filter, just so you take all the bass away and make sure that there's no bass just before the drop, just so the drop hits and it's just like bam, you know, in your face. Fire. But that's how I usually do them. Yeah. That's all going up, up, up. There we go. That's just an example of the, and on top of that, there's, yeah, there's a low cut, and there's no high pass. I don't know why. And the last chop is basically the same. Oh yeah, just for the fill, I just got these. And I panned these left, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. Made a couple just wide, so it kind of goes, it travels. Okay, I've got my drums again. I added a core. That's actually a core from Logic samples. Apple samples, sorry. That's just because in the breakdown, if there's a core built up as well, it'd be a smart idea to add it on top of the stabs to give it a little bit of character. Silence. It's a weird sound, silence. Obviously, I bounce this down, but hopefully you get the idea. That's pan far right. My favorite part of the track. Like, I loved making this part to incorporate the break and the drop, but then fade it out into the outro. That was one of my favorite parts. As you can hear, I've got the core. Okay, and by the way, I'll run you through why this is on this, but I'll do that at the end, if you want to know what I use for my master. Nothing really special. And what else is there? There's a Tommy Trash Tom, sampled. And I pitched these as well, because obviously the melody starts to change on the last outro part. I think I could show you the... Oh, that's a good idea. They're all sent to this. Yeah, this is just an idea. So I've got my reverbs coming up on build-ups, up. The delay is going up. Filter's going from... That's a low-pass filter, so it's going... It's like you outside of a club, this side, this one. So it's coming up while this is a high-pass filter. So it's at the end, there's like no bass at all. Yeah, so that's a good idea to show you that. And also... For the brass, this is the brass bus. Actually, I'll show you the brass without all the plugins on the buses, actually. And yeah, that's basically it. Effects. Yeah, that's just the core. Now, I don't know why I busted brasses like this, but it ended up working out. But I'll show you. So I sent the brass, all of the brasses. Yeah, most of them, to this bus, and this is just got like compression, some reverb, some more EQs to fine tune, and then from this bus I sent it to bus 18, which is this, which I thought it was all together, but then I've got more. I've got the pull tech on it. That was just, where is it, to give it a little bit of highs. Yeah, basically to give it a little bit of highs, fresh highs. This is a sick plugin for reverb. It's gonna cut this delay, which kind of sucks if you don't want a delay, but it makes it really, really nice and like wet. Basically what it says. This is doing fucking nothing. That's just for automation stuff. Automation. This is cool. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. This is cool. See that? This just pushes out. The high mid frequencies around 2.7K, and yeah, you could choose presets. I think I just did it by ear on this one, but if I was you, if you're just starting to download like waves or like some compressor plugins, delay plugins, reverb plugins, the best way to learn about every single how to use it properly. Obviously YouTube tutorials, but presets is how you learn. Like, you see everything change to each different preset of how it sounds like, and that's how you know how you want to use it for your next sound, just say. But yeah, I just choose presets for compression, basically. I've got a bus as well for my effects, and it's just got some low cuts. Yeah, and I cut off about 20. I always do the high cut as well, just so it's not too piercy. Yeah, what I would do as well, if you were to ask me what buses, I'd send my effects, the up effects, to one bus and down effects to another bus, just because your up effects, you want to put a high pass filter to build it all the way up, so it doesn't have... You can build it up, obviously you can EQ them separately, but I like to just make sure that there's no bass at all in them. And yeah, and also, like I said, in the build-ups, you know, obviously how you have your high pass filter going up and up and up, and eventually it's going to sound, I think, depending on what track, it's going to sound pretty dull having all the sounds high pass up and up and up, and you've got no low mids or no nothing. So what I do is I go any sign, silent, whatever you want, and I just fade in a sub. just like this. That's it. And obviously, it's I would have EQ'd that probably 80 hertz because it doesn't have a lot of lows at all. Or maybe not 80 hertz, probably like 50, 60. And that kind of... And when you finish the track as well, I'd recommend... you just say you need a little extra more on effects or whatever. Go to your... Just say like your breakdown or your drop lead. Go duplicate the drop lead. Put a reverb on it. What I usually do is I grab this reverb, like I said, bounce it just like that, or put the mix up, whatever, bounce it, then put it back in the project, whatever, and reverse it. And that's when you get really cool, different things. Like that's the stabs. This is the saw. And what you can do as well from them, you can go from just say like mono, and the more it's building up at the end, you can put it up the stereo to make it wider. So it's kind of getting bigger. And yeah, I think that's basically it. That's for the project wise. I can't see anything else. I use for just white noise if people ask me. Oh, that's not what I use for the drop. I use this one. Yeah, just simple white noise. You can get that from Silent. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Actually, I'll take you through my master as well. First of all, this is +6 just because for the video, it's pretty low. And you guys would probably be able to hear it. So I just chucked it up. It doesn't matter. It's because I learned from Tom Star. I don't know if you could see. Look at my channels. Obviously, the ones up high because they're bounced. But this is honestly how low I mix. I mix so low, it's ridiculous. Probably too low. But yeah, see all this. This is just really low. And I mix low because I don't want any distortion, any red lighting. I don't like that while I'm working. I feel really uncomfortable. And you might not be able to hear it's distorting. You might be able to see it, but you might not be able to hear it. And it's not healthy for your track. So what I do is I mix really low. And I just bring up a PSP and I crank it. I even crank it way more. But I learned that from Tom Star's Future Music. I've just got a mono cancellation. Anything from 200 hertz underneath is cancelled out. I've got an EQ just mid-side. This isn't what I use for my master. I just did this before the video just so you know. This got mastered by Amada's mastering guys, so I didn't really do this. But this is what this is how my channel, my master channel works. This is how it looks like if I'm working on the track. Just say I'm still making the record. And yeah, nothing special. And PSP, I'd recommend that on your master because it gives really, really nice saturation and nice warmth to the low end. Nothing dramatic. All you do is just pull up the drive. You don't touch any of these. You can, but I don't even know how the fuck to use it. And also, I've got on the Buildups, I've got a reverb mix dry wet going up, while the high pass filter is going up as well. Automation, and again going from 0 to probably 0.15 dB, just so it doesn't, obviously everything's going to get too loud with all the reverbs and delays and effects, so you could bring down the master and then just bring it back up just before the drop. And I hope you guys found this this walkthrough interesting. I would if you found anything useful in this, I would honestly print screen the presets. This is what I do. Where is it? Here. See now, I've got like Data Live, Danix, like UAD, their Firebeats, like their master channel. And I learned so much just off like Tom Star. Just go on YouTube and look up videos. You can take some from this. And just look at their presets, how they work, copy it. I honestly just copy it, save it, and chuck it on whatever I think it will fit on, or I tweak it to how it should sound. But to know what they use and how they get their records so clean and their mixes so clean, and it really helps. And yeah, I could go through. You guys asked a little bit of questions as well. My email is promo@boolk.com.au if you want to send me any new records. Favorite synths and sample packs. Favorite synths. I don't know actually. Synplant's really what I've really sick to get weird sounds. Synplant. Or Synplant, however you pronounce it. Nexus is really good for strings. I use Omnisphere for my strings and my pads. Contact is sick for strings as well. Brass, like I use in this. Silent is probably the best, I think. Just for like risers. There's so many different sines, saws, not sines. Yeah, anything, any sounds you want. Silent basically has it. Just pitch it up and it'll sound well. Sample packs, Vengeance, Sample Magic, Loop Masters, and just weird packs as well. I went through how I do my delays. Mix down techniques are pretty much, I'd say low cut basically everything besides kick. I low cut my subs as well. Anything else? Compression, heat Enzel. Sorry. I don't even use compression. When I think it needs to be tamed, I just chuck on the glue. And I've got my own dynamics. This is my compression folder, and it depends what I want. API is really sick for compression. And yeah, I've got the UAD. I just use that for mastering. The glue is probably my favorite for compression. And the C4 as well. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from it. I learned something from it, how dumb I was. Not how dumb I was, but how I've changed with my... Obviously, over time, you change your formulas and stuff, how you process it, how you process and you bus to make things easier. But yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any more questions, post below on my first video on my YouTube channel. Subscribe, however. And I hope you guys can support my release. It's coming out tomorrow, 11th of May on Armada Trice. I hope you guys like the track. I hope you guys can buy the track for me and support it. Help me get in Beatport if you like it. And thank you very much. And I'll see you next time for my other records. Bye-bye.